Okay, it's been a few months since I've done a video, so I'm just gonna get straight into it. Aarakocra. It's a weird monster in D&D, and to me. I started playing D&D a couple years ago, and I've only started buying the books when the new 2024 rules came out. As a result, I don't know Aarakocra as a species, just a monster, but I have looked at their history, and let me tell you, they definitely have one. This is Let's Roll. Welcome to the channel, and this is a new series I want to do that won't make me burn out into a supernova like an old star. This is How Do You DM This? And this episode is about the bird that DMs find more annoying than seagulls that want to steal your food at restaurants. How do you DM the Aarakocra? These guys were introduced as a monster in the Fiend Folio in 1981 for AD&D, first edition, and looks like a nightmare bird that wanted to eat your babies. They have been here since almost the very beginning, and even though they look like what the Vulture would look like in Absolute Batman's universe, they picked up popularity very quickly. Quickly enough that they became a playable species in number 124 of the Dragon magazine. This magazine was actually very ahead of its time because it was pushing for non-human species for PCs in a time where all PCs were very human-like. This is probably the thing that made TTRPG designers realize that having abilities that humans don't have in your game, get ready, it's fun. For second edition, the Aarakocra were updated, still looking like they would eat your children though, but they were published in both the Monstrous Compendium Volume 2 and the Player's Handbook Rules Supplement as official playable characters. It seems like in 2E, they were also very heavily expanded upon. There were a multitude of variations of Aarakocra, and they went on to be published into 3rd edition, where they lost the child-eating monster look for just the look of a bird. Just bird hanging out. Just a really big bird. So yeah, I couldn't really find much about them in 3rd edition. Moving on to 4th edition, they were transformed back into your sleep paralysis demon, where they appeared more vulture-like. But in this edition, it appears they lost the playable character thing. I don't know how that happened. I think it was because maybe 4th edition wasn't as popular. Unless someone else can tell me where to find it, I assume this is because of the troubling nature of D&D 4e, and they just wanted to move to 5th edition before they could introduce them back into the game. And this is where we finally get to 5th edition. This is where our beloved Aarakocra got a massive overhaul, and looks like they actually could be playable species without looking like you would make every child in the city you are in cry at the mere sight of you. They appear more eagle-like and have more humanoid features, while still, obviously, bird. There are still variations of what kind of bird they can be, but this is looking to be the standard, as the Monster Manual in 2024 did not make any huge changes to their appearance, except for emphasizing the fact that they can be varied in look. Alright, so this is where I would like to get into the lore. The lore for these guys is pretty short in 2024, stating that they are elementals that hail from the plane of air, and that they actively resist the Queen of Chaos, an Oberth demon lord, with the Dukes of Akka. And those are two things that I will not get into right now. But, you know, later on, maybe we'll get into them. There are two of them in the book, the Airmancer and the Skirmisher. Now, like I said, for the amount of things that have been written about the Aarakocra, 2024 keeps it short and omits some things that may come up when reintroduced in 2024 as a playable character, hopefully. But let us take a look at the extended lore. The Aarakocra are a very secluded species that mainly live on the plane of air, but they also live on very secluded areas of the material plane around portals to the plane of air, and in the second layer of Elysium, Precipice. They praise multiple deities, with their main one being Serenita. They don't see things the way we do either. In fact, they do not recognize material or land possessions such as goods and borders. They're very free-spirited. The most interesting part of Aarakocra for me come in their fear of enclosed spaces. It is said that if a brave one goes into a cave, they become unusually quiet and succumb to anxiety. Don't we all, pal? Don't we all? If they get into a fight, they are liable to panic and flee or become extremely brutal in a fit of survival. So, you get one in a cave and it might go
rip and tear until it is done.
As adventurers, they are considered crazy to normal Aarakocra, as they are able to get along with others and suppress their fears for a short amount of time. Now that we have gone through most of what the Aarakocra are about, it is now time to figure out how to use their most current version of themselves in our games. I will use the 2024 Monster Manual for the entirety of this. You can obviously use their extended lore to make it a bit more flavorful. I'll give an example later on. So using the Monster Manual, we're going to start with the Skirmisher, and then we're going to move on to the Airmancer. The Skirmisher is a CR 1/4 monster, but don't let them fool you. They are actually very, very scary. The first thing you may notice is that their AC, HP, and walk speed is low, but their fly speed is 50 feet, which is nearly double of what a normal character can do without dashing. Their attacks are also devastating, as they are able to potentially hit for up to 9 damage per turn, which could easily knock out a level 1 or 2 adventurer in 1 or 2 rounds of combat. Their entry also states that they dive to their foes during combat, which is used in their talent attack. They have to use 30 feet of movement, which gives them another 20 feet to get out of range of melee, but obviously this will provoke an attack of opportunity. Now, I love this design for them. It creates a high risk, high reward play style for them, but if you want to terrorize your players, then have the Skirmisher use their ranged javelin, which will keep them out of range of melee, as it magically reappears in their hands after it is thrown. For a CR 1/4 monster, one of these guys could easily take out a level 1 adventuring party. Socially, Skirmishers are not very skilled. They are perceptive, but they do not have any proficiencies in talking, so they are probably meant to be a bit of a serious monster, very by the books kind of species. So yeah, that's a Skirmisher. And moving on to the Airmancer, these guys are CR 4, so they are meant for level 4 PCs, but as far as their stats go, they are pretty much the same, but their wisdom is increased due to it being their spellcasting ability. They have a variety of spells, the 3 big ones being Gust of Wind, Lightning Bolt, and Featherfall. On top of these, they can have a multi-attack, making 2 wind staff attacks that can be used from 120 feet, dealing 1d8 bludgeoning and 2d10 lightning damage, and then a casting of Gust of Wind. Essentially, the Airmancer can just snipe PCs from the sky without sacrificing their position. The only real way a PC could try to attack is with a lucky short bow attack, a longbow, or far-reaching spells. These guys carry forward the Skirmisher's deadliness far into level 6 territory easily. Aeromancers are a little bit better socially. They may have a slight personality to them that can appear from time to time, probably due to their exposure to the arcane. However, it is not very much better than their counterparts. So, bringing both of these stat blocks together could cause some truly devastating effects, if used properly, and can punch well above their CR level. But these guys also provide an excellent combat puzzle to solve if used together that can test your player's ability to think outside the box a little, as they use holes, caves, elevation, and teamwork to take these foes out of the sky. In a social encounter, these guys are probably meant to be stern and serious most of the time. If you're looking to DM a combat encounter, I would say, like I said, provide this as a puzzle for your players. Use elevation, use caves, use holes, and provide areas that your team or that your characters can use to become more team-like. These Aarakocra are not a joke. They will mess up your party, and if they don't decide to work together, I'm pretty sure almost 99% of the time your party's gonna die. So use them anywhere between level 1 to level 6, only if you know that your party is ready for that kind of teamwork and that kind of threat. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the Aarakocra, and to be honest, these guys are a lot cooler than I gave them credit for before I started this video. And I would absolutely recommend running these guys in scenarios where you want to give your players a good puzzle in combat, or if you just want to give them a little something socially that isn't something that would be so humanoid to other players, but still humanoid enough, you know? If you use them in combat, just be sure to give your players something that they can exploit just a little. But anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Ladies and gentlemen, let's roll.